get our chest line is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus 1. So that's ultimately your bust divided by 6 plus 2.5. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Hey friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. The video you saw before was me trying to, explain my heart out, but it wasn't working. So we decided to go with a voiceover. Well, this is me trying to set my workspace because I'm going to be drafting on this paper, and so I'm just going to have to glue it to the wall so that we can all see it properly. So I'm going to be using a paper tape, a pattern paper, a ruler, a tape rule, marker for this. So I'm just going to mark out 1 inch at the top of my paper, and the same thing for the side of my paper. That's because I'm going to be using a marker for this draft, and I don't want the marker to stain the wall, so that's why I'm going to be removing 1 inch. It's not compulsory to do it, I just want to do it because I don't want to stain the wall. So that's just it. So I'm going to take my ruler and rule a straight line across where I've marked out. So I'm going to do it for the horizontal part, and I'm going to do it for the vertical part also. And so please make sure you know how to place your ruler. This is a straight ruler, by the way, and you can get it at probably a bookshop, yes, or a tailoring shop, a pattern drafting tailoring shop, if you get what I mean. Alright, so after that, I'm just going to write out my measurement. For today, I'm going to be using a bust 36. I'm going to be using a waist 28. I'm going to be using a shoulder 14. And also for my front length, I'm going to be using front length 16 and back length 14. So now you're going to see why there's a difference between the two as we proceed. So I'm just going to mark out 16 because that's the length of our basic body. So that's like from your shoulder to your waist. That's your shoulder to waist measurement. So I'm just going to mark it out 16 all the way, and then for the width, that's for the side of the paper, I'm going to use my bust measurement divided by 2, and then for this I'm going to add 2 inches. Now the 2 inches I'm adding is not for the cloth, it's just for this paper. That's because I might need to manipulate certain things on the pattern paper, and I'm going to need space since I'm drafting my front and back on the same piece. So I'm going to need space, so that's just why I'm adding 2 inches. So if you're using a pattern paper, make sure you add 2 inches to your initial bust divided by 2. Do you get it? So I'm going to rule a straight line across this like you see me doing here. And so after this, what I'm going to do next is, I'm going to mark out the second line, like the horizontal one, like you see me doing. So yes, after this I'm going to take or measure this rectangular box into 2. I'm going to divide it into 2. So for instance, this is 20 inches. So 20 inches divided by 2 is 10. So I'm just going to mark out 10. That's 10, 10, 10, and then I'm going to draw a straight line. That's because one part is going to be for the front and the other part is going to be for the back. So we're going to be drafting our front and back on the same paper. So I'm just going to rule out a straight line like you see me doing. The first measurement we're going to be using is the neck measurement, and the basic neck measurement is 3 by 3. That's 3 depth and 3 width. So I'm just going to take my curve ruler and I'm going to curve the neck. So you can get the curve ruler at the same shop where you can find the straight ruler. So make sure you place your curve ruler very well. Make sure the sides are touching each point you already marked out, and that's it. So I'm going to take my shoulder measurement. For shoulder, 14 divided by 2, that's 7. So I'm going to take my shoulders 7. And now for the chest line, it is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus 1. That's your bust divided by 6 plus 2.5. That's how you get this chest line. Now this chest line, you're going to do a lot of things with it. So just mark out a chest line even if you don't know what it's for yet. And so now I'm going to, make sure you label. Labeling is very important so you will not forget. Okay. So that's your chest line, that's your front length. And what we're going to do next, we're going to label our center front. That's this one that is going to be on fold. and also for the center back. We're going to be doing at the back later. So what you're going to want to do next is to take your shoulder measurement also on your chest line. You know, we took it at the shoulder point, on your chest line also, and then draw a straight line up. So now that we've done that, make sure your line is straight, make sure there's no contour. Okay, so now we're going to come down from our chest line by 1.5 inch. 1.5, this is for the dart leg. So this is where our dart is going to be starting from, this new line that we are creating. So make sure you draw a straight line also and label it that leg. Alright, so now for our shoulder slope, we are going to be using 1.5 inch for the front. That's because your shoulder is not straight, it has this slanted shape. So we're going to remove 1.5 and then connect it back to the neck, just like I'm doing here. So now for this armhole, you know the armhole is usually not always straight, it has one curve. So for that curve, you're going to go to the back, that's that line there, remove 1 inch, then what is left, you are going to divide it by 2. So let's say after measuring that one and removing 1 inch, you are left with, for example, after measuring everything, it's 8, and then remove 1 inch and then it's remaining 7. So what you're going to mark out there is 3.5. So you mark out your 3.5, and then for the front you go in by 0.75. That's what is going to give that curve. So you marked out 3.5 and then go in by 0.75, then you connect back to the shoulder. And so after this, you can see it's already giving that, you're already seeing it. So after this, you're just going to take your bust measurements, that's your bust divided by 4. But for this pattern paper, we're going to be adding ease of 0.5. Now that is just for the front, and it's just for the front bust, you're not adding it to the waist. So for the waist, you're going to take your normal waist measurements divided by 4 and mark it out. Do you understand? So if your waist is 28 divided by 4, that's 7, and so you just mark out 7, and that's all. So you connect the lines together, and you can see there's no dart on this piece yet, so don't bother, just relax and learn. So now we're going to make sure we curve this armhole very well, because you can easily make mistake here. You don't want your armhole to be having a sharp point at that middle point there. So you have to make sure you can place your curve ruler very well, and then you just connect it. Do you guys, can you see the shape it's given? So this is the shape that your armhole usually has, and this is fine and perfect like this. So now for the back, we're going to be going, and you know the back length is 14, so we'll go and mark out 14 inches at the back. Just relax and mark out 14 inches. So mark out 14 inches, draw a straight line after marking out your 14 inches like you see me doing now. And well, you see the remaining 2 inches at the down, make sure you trash it out so you will not make mistake and add it back to your fabric. Do you get? So mark it like that, so you know that okay, that's an error, you're not adding that part. So if you see that part whenever you're working on your paper, you know, no, this part I'm not using it. Do you get? So for the neck, it's going to be 1 by 3, so the depth is going to be 1, the width is going to be 3, because we use 3 in front, we'll be using 3 at the back. We can't use 3 and then use 4, no. So we're going to connect the lines, and then you should be having something like this. So you saw we used the other part of the curve ruler, right? So now for the dart leg, we came down at the front by 1.5 inch. That's from the chest line, we came down by 1.5. But for the back, we're going to be coming down by 1 inch. So you come down by 1 inch from your chest line at the back, and then you connect the line, like connect it to make a straight line. Now after doing that, just quickly take your shoulder measurements like we did in the front. Take note, your measurements are starting from this edge, this other part, that's your right hand side of your back piece. Do you get it? So from the front, it started from your left hand side, for the back is going to be starting from your right hand side. So now you measure your shoulder 7 from your chest, on your chest line and on your shoulder line. So you connect the lines, and that's that. So yes, don't forget that we did this what you have from your chest line to your shoulder minus 1 divided by 2, right? So you're going to do the same thing for the back, and then it's 3.5 we cut. So it depends on everybody's measurements. Do you understand? So your measurements might differ. it will be close, but it might differ. So for the front, we went in by 0.75, but for the back, we're going to be going in by 0.5. That's for that contour. Okay, let's do the slope first. For the slope, you go down by 1 inch. We went down by 1.5 at the front, but for the back, you go down by 1 inch. And then for this slanted stuff that we got here, we went in by 0.5. We went by 0.75 for the front, but for the back, 0.5. Now I'm going to take my bust measurement, but I'm not going to be adding ease. Remember, we added ease of 0.5 at the front. For the back, we're not going to add any ease. Then for our waist also, we're just going to take the exact measurement, no ease, and then you connect the line. There was no ease in the front waist, so there's not going to be ease at the back waist. So just connect the line. Don't forget, there is no dart yet on this cloth. You can't see anything like a dart there, so just leave that. Connect your armhole. Make sure you connect it in a way that it doesn't give a contour or a sharp point at that middle. So you place your curvula and then connect it. Okay, so you should be having something like this when you are done with this step on this stage. So remember that 3.5 we got at the armhole. That's what you are going to be using for your dart. So take that measurement very seriously. If you did not get it once, make sure you download the video or watch again. So measure 3.5 on your dart leg and on your waist. Do the same thing for the back, on your waist and on your dart leg. Do you get it? So that's going to be your nipple to nipple point. Do you get? So you draw a straight line and your dart is always 0.5. Do you get? That's the width of your dart from the waist is always 0.5. So you mark out 0.5 on the left hand side, mark out 0.5 on the right hand side, and then connect it to that same point. That's the middle straight line point you drew before. You connect it to that point. So I'm just going to be doing the two now since our back and front piece are ready. So this is me doing the back. You see, I connected it to that same point at the top, and the same thing for the other side, that same point at the top. So I'm going to do the same thing for the front piece. Make sure you connect it well and make sure it is straight. Alright, so now you see that now this dart is going out of the cloth. That means you are like cutting this dart out. So imagine cutting this dart out. That means your material is going to be short 1 inch. When you open it into two, it's going to be short 2 inches. So what you're going to do is you're going to replace your 1 inch for that back. So you come outside and mark out 1 inch and then connect to the same point at the top for your bust. Do the same thing at the back. So now that old line is no longer in use. The one you are working with now is this current new line. So you do the same thing for the back. Don't forget I always said that when you know you're not using a line, make sure you mark it out just to avoid errors. Do you get? So now from your dart leg, you're going to come down, measure that slanted line 2 inches. You're measuring 2 inches because the difference between your front length and your back length is 2 inches. So you measure 2 inches and then you connect it to that same apex point, that same one single point. So you connect it. Now this particular pattern drafting, you can decide to use either your bust dart or you use your waist dart. Can you see how amazing this is? So you can close one and keep the other one. That means you can sew this and then only your straight dart is showing, and then you can sew this and only your bust dart is showing, and you can also sew this and the two darts are showing. It's that beautiful. So make sure you remember to put your bust dart, because if you don't, okay, look at now. If you close this bust dart, can you see that? For example, just use your eye to tear off that middle part that I cancelled in the bust. That's at the side where my hand is now. If you use your eyes to cut that part out, you're going to see that the length of the side now is going to be the same with the length of the back side. So that's what that bust dart is. So if you do not remember to close your bust dart, your cloth is going to be longer than your front is going to be longer than the back. So for the zipper, you come to the edge. That's how where we'll be starting our measurement from, and then you mark out 1 inch and roll it to the point. That's the neck up. That 1 inch is because of the bulge. That's that zipper bulge that is usually on your cloth. You know, some clothes, people sew their clothes and then their clothes at the back is puffy. So that's what that is for. So thank you very much guys for watching. Thank you for sticking to the end. I love you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe and share. See you guys in my next video. Bye.